Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody?
What's happening?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just recovering from Masters Nationals.
Yeah, man, you had to have a rough week. That's a 7. You had 7, right?
8, but who's
8?
counting?
Oh man, yeah. Anything above 5 is just a whole different level. There's there's overlap. You're just never not. 5 people are essentially sending a check-in continuously. So more than that means you're doing multiple check-ins continuously. Those are busy days, busy weeks.
It was a hectic week. It was pretty insane. I had one pro card and a couple third place finishes, and then all over the place from there. It's always funny, you know, Justin, from coaching people. It's like the guys that don't do as well. They're like, "What did you do differently with the guy that?" It's all the same.
That's the hardest part about being a coach is, especially when you have multiple people in the contest. Like I saw you posted even on Instagram. You know, only one person walks away from the show truly happy, the overall winner. Everyone else is at least a little bit upset. So if you have more than one person in the show, even if you have that client, you have the other client who didn't win the overall. So as a coach, it's just like it's an emotional roller coaster because and no one's really thinking clearly because you'll have guys who go from third call-outs to first call-outs, but because they wanted to win, obviously, they're kind of bummed about it. And you have to be like, well, like it's a big leap forward. You moved up 12 places. We're making progress.
Yeah, and if you're finishing in the first call out or even the top of the second call outs at a national show, man, you're kicking ass.
Yeah, once you get first call out at a pro qualifier, your goal is pro card. I mean, you should always be happy when you make that leap.
Yep. Speaking of pro cards, here's some guy that won his pro card.
Yeah. What's up, John?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. You look fantastic, man. Congrats.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
How many attempts was this, John?
Oh gosh, if we go back to 21, that would be USA's in 21, and then the Arnold in 23, which we just missed that one, and then
North
Americans,
Toronto,
and then the Arnold again. So 6 times.
Yep.
Yeah, but 3 of them were in the past like 10 months.
Yeah,
and just remember, folks, pro cards are easy. They just hand them out like hotcakes to everybody.
They're so easy. I wish they were.
I know I'll get some flamethrower comments in the comment section, but I get guys all the time that are just like they hand them out to everybody now, and I'm like, go compete in a national show. Yeah, go get one. Let me know what you think.
What's misleading is if you're not at the shows and you just go on social media, there's a lot of classes and that give pro cards that didn't historically. So there are a lot more pro cards, and sometimes they happen in weird classes. But if you're winning, 35 and over, 45 and over, or 40 and over Masters, Nationals, North Americans, USAs, Nationals, those guys are as good as they've ever been. The winner of the of all the big shows, and you can see by looking at if anything, we're having a resurgence at the pro level. I think right now, I think this is the first time since kind of the mid 2000s when Ronnie and Jay and all those were kind of dying out that there seems to be progress. Samson's a new level of size. I understand what people are saying with that, but if you're talking about the people who are actually going to compete as a pro, those guys are as good as they've ever been, for sure.
I was going to piggyback on that really quick, Paul. I'm sure you saw it too, but USA's just happened, and they had great competition there, but they had. I would say the guys were more conditioned at Masters, to be honest. I mean, you had 1 or 2 top guys at USA's that are always conditioned, but I think that any national level show now is like really getting up there with conditioning and stuff, and it's legit.
Well, it has to do with the age too. You know, when Arnold competed, guys were competing in the early 20s. Now guys aren't reaching their peak in the sport till 40. You know, we bypass kind of the hormonal stuff that happens with age, so we don't lose that like loss of athletic ability, but we benefit from the thinner skin, more time in the game, muscle maturity. And so really, you know, it's the sport's evolving and changing, but the top people are still the top people, and they would have been the top people 15, 20 years ago too.
I would argue that some of the guys that, you know, from the 80s wouldn't even be men's physique guys now.
No. Oh yeah, no. Well, yeah. I mean that's the thing. You like people forget Ronnie won his first Olympia, and this is a different kind of weight because it's Ronnie. But Ronnie won his first Olympia at 246. You go to Nationals, USA's, North Americans, you've got 20 guys in shape at a similar body size. You know, Dorian was the first guy to be over like 240 on stage. Where guys are. I mean, it's. Part of the reason I think is all those old videos were filmed in 4:3 aspect ratio, and then they get spread to 16:9 now, and because I'll watch some of the old Olympian stuff and I'm like, those guys didn't look like that because they're spread wide by like 25-30%, and you can really see it when they fit and they fit the screen to fit the wrong size screen. That's not all of it, but a lot of the clips you see from the old days were from 4:3 video that it's been kind of stretched to 16:9. Yeah,
and also like you're right about USA's. I have thoughts about that show, but it was Masters Nationals was more competitive.
Yeah,
I was blown away by the level of competition at Masters Nationals, and we were talking to Bill afterward, and he said that was like one of the steepest lineups that he's seen in a long time.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
all the way up. Even the 60 guy, the over 60 guys were. I mean, there were a lot of good physiques.
Yeah, they were all peeled and shredded.
Yeah, my 60s guy he was battling it out for the overall, but he
was big too.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked good. It was best. He's like, this is his 4th national show with me, but yeah, I mean, the competition was pretty nut, especially in the women's divisions. Holy shit! The bikini, I mean, there were a ton of bikini competitors that could beat current pros that didn't get pro cards.
Yeah.
There was 35 competitors in one of the bikini divisions. I think it was like over 50, like class B or something. There was 35 just in that one class.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. Karina and I had a bikini competitor, but yeah, it was nuts. The bikini were not. It was pretty thin in the classic. I don't know why. There just wasn't that many classic guys. The bodybuilding was very competitive.
There was something that came up on. It was funny because normally, you'll hear it about maybe MASH some, but there was no talk about MASH this year, giving out pro cards to people who didn't deserve them. But then I saw at USA's, there was a little bit of talk about that. And one of the things was they had the amount of competitors and the amount of pro cards given out. And it was either figure, I think it was figure. And they said it was like, they had like 14 competitors or something, and then 8 got pro cards or something like that. And it was one got a pro card. And then they were saying that, well, there was only 3 people in this class. So then they had other women cross over to get who weren't in that division, but they said, hey, I'll help you out. I'll sign up today. And that way we have 5 people in your class and you get a pro card, even though they had no chance. It was like a bikini person signing up for figure just to help their friend. So,
yeah, there should be rules on that, I think. Maybe a maximum cap of percentages of total competitors are allowed to turn pro. I mean, you can't have 100% of competitors turn. I suppose you can. Because I saw a post, there was that one guy who did that really crazy dance and he wasn't in shape. And I think there was another girl. And people talked about, like, should there be requirements? And my stance on that has always been there are requirements at shows you have to qualify for. If you're doing a show that doesn't require qualification, then you run into that potential. If you don't want to be at that level, then qualify and move to the next level. And then, I mean, and then I still don't think you have anything to say because you've earned the right to then compete against other people at your level. But I don't. yeah. And I also don't like the idea. 100% of people, even if they're qualified, probably shouldn't turn pro.
John, that actually happened in 2 of the women's classes at USA's. I think it was figure and wellness.
Yeah.
And see, those are the things that, because there were a lot of other female classes where, like, I think bikini had like 150 and only like 10 or some got pro cards. So it was like there were some legitimate women's classes, but sometimes when you have those classes pop up, that's the only thing people focus on. And then they'll be like, they're handing out too many pro cards. And it's like, come on, man. Like, no, they're not, you know?
Yeah. When figure first came out, and because there used to be fitness, and then it turned to fitness and figure, because fitness turned into just whether or not you were a former gymnast, basically. But there was a period there where there would be like 1 or 2 fitness competitors in a class. And so if you did a local show, you're the only fitness competitor. You went to nationals, you were 1 of 2. You got your card, and then but it all moved to figure, really.
Yeah, and it all sorts itself out anyway. When you get to the pro level, the best guys still rise to the top anyway. So I don't know why guys are crying and complaining about it. It's just
no one goes to Little League and is like, that right fielder sucks. They should not be allowed to play against mine. It's like, well, if you're that good, then make a travel team or make them major leagues.
Yeah, and it's like even in the open, like I did the math on it. There's only like 50 couple open pro cards annually that are given out, and then on the pro level, like they can't get enough open guys to even compete in shows.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How many guys were at the Detroit?
Well, that's insane to me because that's such a good show, such a well-run show. If Fuad's that whole crew, Fuad, Ben, they're very good business minded. They grew up in the sport. If there's any show pros should be competing at, it's that one, because they're the only people that really see it from both ends. They're going to pay you. They're going to know what it's like getting ready for a show and then not getting paid what you deserve. So for guys to not show up for that was crazy to me. And it's a great show.
As a
really
fan,
well run.
as a fan, that was probably the most fun show I've ever been to, was the Detroit Pro.
Yeah. We had a booth there last year. That was their first year even, and it went, there was no hiccups, just ran it very well.
What were there, like 9 or 10 guys in the open? It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so it's not like there's an overabundance of open. You can make an argument there might be too many divisions. I could see that, where there's just like too many divisions, but
the number of people who are earning pro cards in a division where they will compete in the men's open pro is roughly the same as it's always been. So there's a couple more in USA, but lightweight competitor, he's not competing as a pro. It's light heavy, super heavy basically are the guys. Rarely a middleweight will grow into 212, but those are it. So and that's been that way forever. So
yeah.
So I got a good one. You got Dave, you might know this, or Justin, one of you guys, if you follow the men's side, but Kareth Bayo.
Yeah.
He's the top 3, 212. He just got top 3 at the Olympia, I'm pretty sure, this past year, right? Mm-hmm. Looks amazing. Where did he get his pro card?
Masters Nationals.
35 plus Universe Masters.
Yeah, well, Sean Roden, didn't he turn pro at Masters?
Yeah,
USA's. I think.
Was it USA's? I always think it's the Masters. Okay.
Well, he wasn't.
He was a
master. He was a Masters competitor. Yeah.
So it really, as long as you bring the physique, man,
Yeah, the cream rises to the top.
Kamal turned pro as a master.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. So. Yeah. Anyway, it all just sorts itself out. Anyway, I don't know, but it's always the guys that have never competed that are saying shit, or the guys that were salty that they didn't get a pro card. It's those dudes. I know a few of those.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, John? What do you got planned, or are you thinking that far ahead?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, there's a part of the mental aspect of it was, once everything calmed down, it still feels a little weird. Not that it hasn't hit you, but the fact that, normally after every show, it's like, okay, what's next show? Okay, show 6 months, show a year from now, show, okay, well, if we do this, like, work with Justin, and it's been like that for the past 5 years. And so to have that all of a sudden stop, I go throughout the day and I'm like, there's something I got to be planning. Like, I have to be doing something.
Isn't that weird?
It's a very weird feeling, and it's like, oh no, wait, all I gotta do is just get a lot bigger and go do my pro show when I want to. But we're planning on like 10 months. I'd love to do Detroit, but I think like a 10-month off season sort of, and then hit something close to the Olympia next year and see how we do. So put on some good size. So that's it.
Come do the Tampa with me.
When's that?
It's next week. It's last week in August, or last week in July.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're doing that next year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no.
Okay.
I'm fucking beat. Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't know if I can do it in a
We
week.
could do Milos, one of those old. Who did Mustafa Muhammad used to come over like 10 days out? Milos be like, "Have you even been dieting?" And then find a way to get him respectable on stage.
Jesus, I'm like 40 pounds under my normal off season weight.
You can do it. You can do it.
Can we pull a LeBron?
How much D-ball can I take in a week?
Dude, as much as you want, brother.
Go in there with a torn bicep. Yeah, no.
Work for Dorian.
Yeah, I got 3 guys competing at the Tampa next week in the Masters division, so I'm flying down for that one.
Nice. Tampa's nice, dude.
What do you guys?
Weird though, because it's like some of the neighborhoods are like really nice, and then like you go over like 2 streets, and then it's like, oh man, I'm in the jungle right now, dude. This is
It's
tough
like
spot.
Detroit. You'll be at Ford Field, eating at a 5-star restaurant, and then you go 2 blocks over, and there's a car on fire.
So, what do you guys think about the Tampa next week? I saw John Jewett's going to jump in.
I saw him. He posted just a video he posted for his business, and you could tell he was in shape. So,
what? Shier has such crazy shape, man. It's always
is he doing it? Somebody told me he wasn't, but I don't know.
I know he was planning all along. If so, he would have just backed out from what you're telling me.
Yeah, I'll be down there. I know Patrick Moore is in the show. Morgan Mack.
John De La Rosa.
John De La Rosa. I mean, it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Shier. I don't know. Justin I would think was probably the favorite, right?
Yeah. Seems like
Yeah, I'd say Justin or John.
Justin or John, yeah.
I didn't realize Justin was like 40.
Yeah, he's
older.
Pretty,
yeah, he looks young.
Yeah.
Growth hormone, man, works.
Yeah.
that I always think about that, man. It's like that. Like you didn't see guys over 40 competing in bodybuilding until growth hormone became more affordable and accessible.
Yeah,
that
it kind of just shuts off that whole age degenerated loss of physique.
Karina and Amy, how many to speak about growth hormone, what's the most you've ever heard of a female running?
Most I've heard of a bikini competitor running.
Does any female?
Yeah, well, Karina's going to have more stats on this than me, but like bikini competitors, I know I've heard someone doing 10, which I was like, I don't know how they do that. Like, yeah. I've heard of
women bodybuilders running 10.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think there's a huge variance between what division you're in. But yeah, I've heard of female bodybuilders running 10. I think around like 4 to 6 is usually where I see people land.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Man, that's
bikini
like from what I've heard, they've bumped up because I remember hearing the females were running like 1 to 2 or something, and then
it was always 2. That's what I always remember. Yeah.
Growth hormone dosing is interesting because it's so arbitrary. Like you look at what the clinical dosings are for when they prescribe it, and it's nothing. Like it's way more than what bodybuilders use.
Oh, way more. And we call it we measure it around. We use IUs where it's
really milligrams.
IU is just a volume measurement. It just depends on the IU differs by how much you dilute it. Technically, I mean we've kind of created this standard where 1 milligram is about 3 IUs, which is that's kind of what we call it. Because then like a 10 IU vial will be like 3 it's like a 3 milligram vial usually. But yeah, it's funny how we name them IUs when they're clinically it's dosed in milligrams.
Yeah, it's like Serum. It comes dosed in 6 milligram vials, and then it's administered nightly. So it's 18 units nightly.
That's where our convention comes from, I think, because whatever, 6 times 3 is 18.
Yep, that's what bodybuilders. I think I remember hearing Dorian Yates on an interview. I talked about it earlier this week on my Q&A, talking about the 5 on 2 off protocol, which is what he used to run, and somebody was asking him why he did it, and he was like, "That's all I could afford."
Yeah. Dude, people got it spoiled now. I remember $1,000 kits not being outrageous, especially in the summer and fall, when you had contest season.
Yeah,
$900, $1,000 kit. I remember $750 kits being, if you found a $500 kit, you were doing cartwheels. This is 20 years, like 25. Geez, yeah, 25 years ago. But
That's crazy.
Here's Justin Shier, man. He's got such a crazy physique.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's very interesting, and like you always want to see him stand next to somebody, right? Because when he went to the Olympia, it looked a little different than standing next to some of the other guys. But he's got such a crazy taper; it's like insane.
He is very limb dominant. His arms are so long.
Yeah,
like a gorilla.
Yeah.
So huge. Yeah, he looks like a gorilla.
Yeah, I know all about that. I got long ass arms. It's really hard to get your arms. Like if you have big arms and you have long arms, that's impressive as fuck.
Yeah. It's like a Frank McGrath kind of long forearms, long forearm bellies.
Patrick Moore, I love his physique too, man. He's got to be getting up there too, though, isn't he?
He's in his 40s, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if not late. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, almost everyone's like either almost 40. Like, I mean, you got some of the younger guys, and Samson's what, 35, 36, 37, and Walker's like
talk about
30.
some arms. Oh my god, that dude has got
insane, man. He's kept that good conditioning.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful physique.
Mm-hmm.
And then John, John's always in shape. Jewett.
Yeah,
Very
always.
dense.
Yeah,
Crazy dense.
he's come so far since compete. I mean, I always bring him up, but he went jump from middleweight to heavyweight when he turned his pro card. It's not really that because he really lost size to cut down to middles, but to think that guy used to compete in the 170-pound range is outrageous now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just Mr. Consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just a grinder, a guy who takes a smart approach to everything and just grinds away, just chips away.
Yep. It's like a diamond starts as a lump of coal. Yeah, enough time and enough pressure turns into a diamond. Just got to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
His
I remember.
adductors are
Oh,
insane.
it's crazy.
I remember hanging out with him not this past year, but the year before at the Arnold, and I just couldn't stop looking at his hamstrings. I'm like, I have never seen hamstrings that big on a fucking human being in my life.
He's got 2 butts.
I'm like, good Lord, man. Like, how does that guy buy pants anywhere? Where the hell is he buying?
He wears
Yeah, he
shorts.
He must be wearing shorts and sweatpants.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, now that he's jumping in, originally I kind of thought John De La Rosa or Justin were kind of a toss up, but I'm starting to lean towards John because I just know he's always going to be probably the best condition, best shape, in shape. I mean,
Yeah.
and you get people like Patrick Moore who could just have a better shape and structure, but it's a matter of, are you going to show up in shape and condition, to beat someone like John? So,
Dude, I was just watching De La Rosa at the 2013 New York Pro. I think it was Big Rami's first show, and he came out and just like destroyed everything. But I'm thinking to myself, like, holy crap, like De La Rosa's he's one of the last, OGs hanging on from that era, man. He's been around for a minute.
yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Well, probably helped him. He took a little hiatus for a while.
Yeah, I hope it paid because he always seemed like he had thick skin. It looked like, I mean, I don't know what he does for peaking, but just by how he looks what I think happens, I think he's kind of got naturally thick skin, really has to work to dry out. And it's just like always a tightrope because he'll lose his quads, the separation of his quads when they flatten out. Because, I mean, you can see how full they are there. But he'll lose that, and they'll just be kind of like really smooth and glossy just from not the depth between the muscles. I don't know but it looks like he's not going to have that problem this time. I mean, even watery there, his skin looks fairly thinned.
Yeah, even in the glutes, it's just dry.
Yeah, some guys have that really hard time getting, like, I think about Samson. Like, that guy from what I've read, they starve him on contest prep.
Yeah. Well, you can see because he's 330 and he's not out of I mean, he's not fat, he's not contest shape, but he's low body fat, just some water, you know.
Yeah.
But and he goes down quite a bit in weight. Well, I mean, not that much, but quite a bit in weight from there when he's on stage.
Yeah, De La Rosa is impressive.
I'm
really a fan of Patrick Moore's physique. He just has a beautiful physique.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a classic guy, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I always wondered what he does. Anyone know what he weighs? I've never looked, but
no, probably too much for classic, I'm guessing.
But if it's, I mean, if it's like within 10 pounds, that is something he could do.
Yeah, I thought he was in the 230s the last time he competed.
Yeah, it said, let's see, Patrick Moore is 5'10". His stage weight ranges from 231 to 242. So I don't know what 5'10" would be in the IFBB.
I think it's like 220.
It's in the 220s, I think, because 6 foot. Yeah, I'm trying to
because
think.
NPC is 209.
Yeah.
So if you add weight, I mean, it's probably about 220, maybe.
Yeah, about 10 pounds heavier in the pros.
Yeah, it's 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah, I mean, if he's only got to lose 10 pounds and he can rehydrate, like,
it's risky, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he's big.
I mean, I get it, man. Like sometimes it's just your identity. It's like you know, you feel like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh shit. All right. IFBB Pro rules. Classic is up to 5'10". It's 212.
Oh man.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, classic's so weird because the
not happening.
The guys that are 6'1" feel like they can be pretty darn big. You know, is that
6'1" is 234.
Yeah. See, that's not. I mean, because you can be 245 and 250 in shape, and then really cut down to that.
6'2" is 242, which is where I would be.
Yeah.
I've thought about just switching to classic because 242 would be pretty easy for me.
You have, I mean, I think you have a bodybuilder physique, but it's not far from a classic physique. I mean, you have good lines, small waist, flat waist.
Yeah, I was like 247, 248 on show day last year, so I could make 242. What did you come in at this year, John? 250, 260?
No, I was 240. By the time the next day after, eating and drying out and stuff, I think I was 244.
Okay.
On stage.
Yeah, you were about 250 before we started drying out.
Well,
I was like 250, pretty lean without the water.
You look big as fuck on stage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man,
it was right up front.
We have a good we have some good shape and stuff. I got to give props to the mama and papa and the big man upstairs for that, because that's something you can't really control, I guess. But I mean, we add another 12 pounds of stage weight. I'm very confident in what we could do. So I'm excited.
What kind of feedback did you have?
Yeah, look, you're so classic. Look at that classic
That's a great
physique.
chat.
Where's your focus, John, going to be to add some size, though, if you're going to be trying to?
Honestly, man, like, we were a little dry. Like in this photo, like we're pretty
You were
dry.
pretty flat at finals. You were flatter than I thought you were at finals once I saw photos.
Yeah, I should have had a burger and stuff.
Yeah, there's the side one there is a better indication, the side quarter turn.
Yeah, I think the one I posted from the gym that's got the troponin stuff on, that was yesterday or 2 days ago. So I think
you're a lot fuller there.
Yeah, I had some carbs in me, so I'm 248 here.
That's I ate a burger and some sushi. Look,
we needed. I always wanted that division, the gym shorts division. No one needs static glutes. You just if you competed on Saturday, they let you compete again the next Saturday in gym shorts.
So I think, I mean, honestly, dude, if we can come in close like 258 on stage next year, I'm very confident.
There's one before you dried out. You're about 250 in that black and white one.
Oh yeah, super artsy.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's that look that looks the best in the hotel. On stage, that would look a little watery, but that was pretty filled out.
Oh, so you weren't at the host hotel? Where'd you stay?
was staying like maybe 5 minutes away. Something called an Even Hotel or something.
It was
like
the alternative host hotel, they said.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the pictures I took.
Yeah, Paul knows.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were in condition, man. You know, like I was backstage and I was like, these guys look pretty freaking stacked, dude.
Yeah, these are masters, folks. This is what masters looks like.
Yeah,
the which guy was it, man? I think it was the guy who got second. He was telling me he fucked his back up the week before, said he herniated a disc or something, and he was just gutting it out.
I kept wondering if he was cramping or something, because he would you could tell like he'd make the wrong move and it'd be miserable for him for a second.
Yeah, he was telling me he almost pulled out of the show, but he was just gutting through it. I'm like, man,
he won the 40. He was like 43, and he won the 40 super heavy. So he still got a car. He did well.
Yeah, man. I can't imagine herniating a disc in your back and gutting through. Getting up on stage, it's got to be miserable as fuck, man.
I think everyone here has like a story of. I remember when the USA's in 21. This is how I knew it was gonna be a bad show. I was like 3 weeks out, did a crazy leg workout the day before, and I guess I was still a little depleted, dehydrated. Things were stretched out, and so I went the next day. I was warming up calves and just on like a basic pin loaded machine, and I was doing one at a time, pretty light. Then all of a sudden, boom, and the machine like fell, and I was like, what the hell just happened? It felt like someone hit the back of my leg with a baseball bat, and I was like, oh, that hurts. And so I tried to walk and I couldn't walk, and I tore my calf.
Oh man,
I thought it was a Achilles because it was like that loud, and I couldn't walk to my car. So I tried to play it off like so no one was looking or whatever. I went to my car, I sat down, I called my buddy Salby, and I was like, dude, I just tore my leg. Like, I don't know what the hell, like I can't even walk. So I got upset. I said, screw it, or whatever, and then went back in the gym, finished the workout, but my leg was like a sausage by then. And what happened was it wasn't the top layer, it was like, I guess the soleus, if you guys know better than me.
Gastrocnemius and soleus.
Yeah, there's one underneath. So I tore a big chunk of muscle off that, and after about 3 weeks we went to USA's and I was like, I can walk, things are fine. My first pose I hit on stage, bam, it pops again, and I was so much pain, and I just wanted to get off stage. I knew my first pose was like, I lost, I suck, this is horrible, I just want to go home. Yeah,
folks, you want to see a crazy before and after? That's nutty.
You look like Jason, our videographer.
I know, we could be brothers. My tattoo was darker then too. It wasn't as stretched out.
That's big guy problems right there.
It's funny.
Yeah, you see on my shins that like the scarring line. That was just because we deadlifted,
deadlift all the time.
Times.
Were you stronger then than now or no?
Central nervous system wise and one rep strength wise, 100%. But like gas station strong.
It's crazy.
Yeah, gas station strong. I'm way stronger now. But back then, my form was better. I didn't have as much muscle tissue, so I was more flexible. I actually never really got injured. It was just because I had more mobility and things like that and pretty flexible. And now it's like things have the ability to tear or like strain a little more because it's just a little more mobility restrictions and stuff.
Yeah, it's always funny to me, like that just goes to show you how different bodybuilding and powerlifting are as far as training, PEDs, nutritions, all that stuff, because I see it all the time, like guys that are, when they're the strongest, they don't look like bodybuilders usually. It's very different. And a lot of times guys are bigger when they're lifting lighter. Yeah. Not that John lifts light. I've lifted with John before. John is a strong motherfucker. Even John's light is stronger than 99.9% of anybody in bodybuilding.
Well, it's funny because sometimes I see people who say, "Oh, you could do both this and that." You can't do both at the highest level because just central nervous system wise and stuff. Preparing for that 1 rep or that 2 rep, where every single muscle is controlled and firing at the right time. Like if you're doing something and your glutes aren't firing right, dude, you're not hitting that 850 squat. You're not locking out that 900-pound deadlift. So you might be able to squeeze 405, but to do both of them, and that's why you see some guys who are world's strongest bodybuilder, but they haven't competed in like 3 or 4 years, right? They've just been powerlifting. So, you know, I always admired guys like Johnny Jackson, and you know, and even Stan Efferding, some of the other guys who were just strong, right? And like they didn't take time off to focus on powerlifting. They were just like all the time strong. I always thought that was a little more impressive than just, you know, taking time off and focusing on just being strong.
I want to address this one really quick. Daniel says, again, you're misrepresenting or fail to understand the too many pro cards argument. It's not about too many pro cards, but those getting a pro card that do not have pro level physiques. That's very uncommon. And then, like, I think about it, like, it's like the NFL. There are guys that fucking get drafted in the NFL that can't play, but it sorts itself out when you get to that level. I mean, it's the,
and again, those guys aren't competing. What pro shows are they competing at? You know, I mean, the guys that it's still the same. They give out more cards, and whether you agree with it or not, the guys that win the USAs, win nationals, win North Americans, they're the, you know, win Masters nationals. They're the ones who compete as professionals. You know, and win, you know, light, heavy, super heavy. That in bodybuilding. You know, like yes, an over 60 lightweight might get a pro card, but you're not going to see them at the California Pro. You know,
no.
Yeah. Or they compete and come dead last. Like,
yeah. So it just it sorts itself out, and once again, it's just I mean, it's the same thing in the NFL. I mean, how many people that get drafted in the NFL actually become good players?
How many Jamarcus Russells are there? That get mega massive signing bonus and show up at camp 330 pounds.
It just
you know the story about Jamarcus, the funny story.
What's that?
So they were in training, and
the videotape.
His position coach, the quarterback coach, said, "Hey, you know, do me a favor, go home, watch these Buffalo Bills or whatever. Let me know what you think, but you know, and let me know what you think of their formation stuff. Bring them on back." So he brings him back, and he was like, "What do you think?" He's like, "Oh man, it's pretty good, but I know we got him in this and that and this and that." He's like, "You didn't watch him." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because there's nothing on the tape.
They're blank tapes."
Yeah.
Oh man,
it sorts itself out.
It sorts itself out, and I just don't understand that. Like, it's such a gift having that physical ability to make it that far, and some people just take it for granted.
It's almost always. It's very rare someone is the most gifted and has a good work ethic, because when it's just always comes so easy for you, I think you need to. It's hard to find the right. When you get someone who's got the work ethic and the genetics, you get someone like a Phil Heath or Ronnie Coleman, you know, or a Chris Bumstead. But most of the time you get like a Paul Dillette or something, you know, when it just comes easy. And I think probably even all of us are something that maybe we were naturally gifted at, that we maybe, I used to really like to draw, dumb thing when I was little. And I think I was pretty good. I mean, as a kid. But other kids that really wanted to be good at drawing, you know, but it just worked for me. So I never really did it, you know, and it's kind of how it is, you know. And I think all of us know someone who's extremely gifted in something. We're like, oh my God, I wish I had your ability. Why don't you want to do that? You know, especially bodybuilding. Most of us probably knew.
Is that why you always asked to draw me like one of your French girls when you're in the room?
French boys.
And he just flips it around. It's just he makes me take off my trunks, and he flips it around. It's just a stick figure.
Yeah. Why you spent 3 hours shading your upper lip?
Paul, can you pull up Tanya's comment? Not the genetics one, but the pros not getting paid to be pros, because I feel like that's something that people don't really think about or know. But that shit is like so expensive. Like, to do a pro show, like, it's not like people aren't getting paid to like show up. Like, you have to pay for your pro card, like your IFBB.
Yeah, I think my pro card was $400 a year just to have it, man. And then you know, if you're going to do a show, I mean, if you do a show correctly, you hire a coach, travel, all of the super supplements, you're probably going to drop 20 grand. 15, 20 grand. I mean, that's just what it is.
The travel's the worst, man.
Serostem,
food.
The food.
Yeah, and it's you know, and it's funny, like, you know, and then like some of the show, like I looked like I think Tampa, like it was like $5,000 for third place or something. Like you're not even recovering your expenses to go compete in that show. You're just doing it because you love it.
Historically, that was fine because you had just the Weeder magazines. They kind of controlled everything, and they could basically afford not to pay guys stuff. But now there's so much money to be made, as through social media. I wonder if I hope we don't reach a point where the competition stop mattering, because already most guys aren't making their money from competing, and they never really did, but they would make their money indirectly as a weeder athlete, which required them to compete. I just hope we don't like lowball our competitors out of doing shows, and then kind of the sport fades to some weird, like, I don't know, kind of like a piercings or some piercing thing section of Instagram where there's a whole subworld of it, but there's no official, sanctioned events.
Like, if they really want to get the best people out there, they should be at least covering costs to get you there.
Yeah.
Well, what do they do as a pro, Paul and Amy and stuff? Like, they pay for your show, right? Like, so you only have to pay them back if you don't show up. But like, I guess that's their way of being like, hey, you're a pro, now you don't have to pay the $200 entry fee type thing.
Yeah, there's no entry fee.
There's no entry fee, but
great.
Yeah.
You still have to pay for your tan, your hair, your makeup, your suit, everything
You got to buy your own jersey. Your posing suit.
Yeah. 60 people it's still 60 people qualify for there aren't 60 people in the Open at the Olympia. There just aren't.
You got to be specific on what division.
Yeah, there were 15 or 16
and also how many people are on the sidelines of the Super Bowl?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, think about that. Like
the practice squad guy that's never going to sniff
a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even 60 out of 8 billion is still, you're still finding the best of the best. I mean, it's not like it's not get too crazy to get watered down. I mean, even if it is 60, it's this 60 out of 8 billion is a pretty rare error.
I mean, and if they have an issue, look, they've fixed some of that issue, because I know at the Olympia they'll have sort of the prejudging, and then they get rid of them like immediately. Like, you don't even get to do anything at night or anything. Like, you're gone. They'll be like, hey, so and so, you guys come back, everyone else can leave. So by the time we're like really watching it, they only show like the top 20 or something, like, anyway. So
those guys are weeded out after prejudging. They're gone.
I don't even see them.
Nope. When you go to finals at night, you pay the big money ticket. They're not on stage. Nope, it's the top guys. That's it. It's the same dudes that still win. We were talking about the talent thing. It is.
That's watering down.
Once in a while, you get a guy that has all the talent and the work ethic, and then you just get generational, like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would be a guy that had the drive and the talent. Kobe Bryant in basketball. I'm a basketball guy. I mean, bodybuilding. Jay Cutler would be a guy who had the drive and talent.
I think a lot of people too look at like all the new pro cards and compare them immediately to the top 10 guys. Like, they're seeing all these pro cards and they're immediately going, that's not Nick Walker, that's not Derek, that's not a pro physique. That's just kind of that's what happens with social media. You're seeing the cream of the crop, and you're seeing what's put in front of you the best, and it's that's the elite of the pro physique. That's
Justin, you went to national shows back in the day, man. Like, I went to, I remember, was it North Americans? Yeah, I think it was North Americans in 2001 or 2002. I went to early on. There were like 50 people in the show.
Yeah. They went quick. Yeah, and we really, because
there's over 1,000.
The only photos we look back on from 25 years ago are the best photo. I mean, there were millions of photos taken. We still share about 4 of them, the 4 best.
Wheeler,
Sean Ray. Like that one of Flex Wheeler where he looks insane. Jay Cutler's quad stomp. Ronnie Coleman's 5 best photos ever taken of him on stage. That's what we're looking at. That's the other thing you forget. But yeah, I mean, I went my first Olympia 2003. I've been going to like nationals and USA since 2004. 2004 is a good example. Mark Dugdale won the overall as a light heavyweight, and that, Chris Cook won supers that year, and he did not have a single glute line. I liked Chris Cook, and I liked his physique, and I was back then I was hoping he'd become a good pro, but he wouldn't have been top 5 in a good supers division right now with the conditioning that, it was a kind of a weak couple years there for the supers. They had just made the super. It used to just be heavyweight. They had just made supers, not that many years earlier. So it's just because we look back on the 1% of greatest photos ever taken of that, and then compare it with, whatever crappy photo we can find of a guy mid-transition today. And that's what people use. Look at, compare these. Look at this perfect photo of Flex Wheeler. That guy's a pro. And then this guy who's not quite into his pose that I found on page 4 of NPC News Online gets to compete at that level now.
Yeah. And that's not how you get a pro card. They don't take a picture of Jay Cutler and say, do you stack up to this?
That's the other thing that's surprising. Every time it kind of reinforces into my brain how different it is in person from photos. Usually you can still tell from photos, but you always see it from a different perspective when you watch them in person.
Oh, absolutely. And even if you take a huge category like bikini, where there's going to be nearly 60 competitors at the Olympia, meaning every single woman on that stage won a show to get there, won a pro show to get there. I would take your average person and put the woman who comes in first, who wins, and the person who came in dead last, and ask them to tell me the differences between them. Like, without a trained eye, these people are all at the peak of their physique for the most part. Yes, people come in off occasionally, and that does happen, but
that's in the world.
Yeah, like the differences between these athletes is so small. Like, they are all at the top of the field. So if there's one pro that is not as great as the rest, they're all still far above what a normal physique is.
They're round.
Yeah, that was Ronnie when he was an amateur.
Yeah,
I think he was still eating Denny's, prepping for shows.
22, 23-inch arms.
Yeah, some people are just born into it, but yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Hit a little pose like this.
You can't pose.
Watch that.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing him back in the day.
Man, crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's when he won his pro card.
That's when he won his pro card?
Yeah.
Look at that. Take a screenshot of that and post it and put it online and be like, can you believe this guy turned pro?
He's not big enough yet. He's only 230.
Soft. He's soft.
Soft. Glutes aren't in.
No separation in his quads.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, who cares? If your goal is you want to work hard and you want to get a pro card and you never want to do anything again, cool. Like, that's awesome. If you want to use it to build your business, cool. That's awesome. If you want to use it to compete and try to go to the highest level, that's cool too. I don't know why people get so concerned about what other people are doing with their lives. Like, if it hurts the overalls, then just go get a pro card. Like, if it but you can't get one, okay, well then maybe that's why you're upset. Like, don't worry about what other people are doing with their life, man. It all buffs out, and the top people will be the top people. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. There's the overalls.
That's crazy.
Well, think of how many times too there's been the opposite, that there's been guys that should have gone pro many of times. Like, John, you're a great example of one of them, that you've been on a stage where one guy's getting a card, but maybe 3 or 4 of you deserve it.
Didn't Nick Walker take a couple cracks?
Nick Walker took third I think it was third. Yeah, when I thought he should have won the overall. Dominic Trivellini, same thing, was second or third when I was sure he had the overall.
Yeah, Nick, I think Martin took a couple cracks too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. All right, we want to grab some questions. I'm sure I angered all the bodybuilding world talking about the pro. They get all upset when I talk about it.
How dare you?
We don't have any questions this week. We just have a couple. We answered one. Someone asked John how much he thought he was going to put on size-wise. We talked about that one. So let's get this one from Gamboni Law. Right. Any thoughts on the allegations pertaining to LeBron and gear? Do you think it could become a Lance Armstrong situation when he's done playing? The truth will come out.
They're not juicing like bodybuilders, but every athlete at that level is using whatever they can to stay on the court.
Yes.
It's different. It's because we wear it on our bodies. We wear the PEDs with 22-inch arms, but any athlete's taking anything they can for recovery. I played in a crappy little college football team, and we had a bucket, a 55-gallon drum full of sample packets of Tramadol, to get you through anyone who's played college sports has got a cortisone injection and played in a game when they any doctor would have been like, this is not a good idea. And then, when you're talking about that kind of money at that kind of
He's a
level and
billionaire.
that kind of legacy, he's going to do whatever it takes to keep him on the court. And they're all doing that. He's not doing like 2 grams of tren, but he's doing whatever can enhance his performance and recovery, and not get him in trouble.
I can tell you from, I don't know, I gotta be careful what I say, but I have worked with some professional athletes, and they're all using stuff.
Yeah.
It's usually TRT or TRT plus some growth hormone. And
it's basically just to keep them in the hormones
recovery
they're at when they turn professional. They're not looking to be bodybuilders, but if they're 38 and they're trying to hang on in the league, they're going to put their hormone levels, growth hormone, testosterone, where it was when they turned pro, when they left college. If they can.
I mean, you don't want to be. Believe me, I played basketball when I was younger, and I remember trying D-ball and playing basketball, and I got calf pumps so bad I couldn't even fucking run up and down the court.
Yeah.
So they're not doing that. And then you know how you huff and puff with tren. You're not going to be taking tren and doing anything where you're have any sort of endurance involved. So, but yeah, I hopefully we can get to a point where people can just accept that it's part of the sports and just don't give a fuck about it.
I think we're walking a very tight rope on that. I think with the HRT anti-aging clinics, I think that's either we're on like a razor's edge, and either we're going to stay on that razor's edge and it's going to become to that level, or it's going to go off the razor's edge where TRT clinics are prescribing very non-hormone replacement doses and levels too loosely, and then that whole thing gets shut down again like it did in the early 90s when they cracked down. But if it somehow by some miracle gets managed right in 20 years, as everyone kind of grew up seeing the HRT clinic stuff on their social media and stuff, it'll become kind of more accepted. I mean, I don't know, like if any females perimenopausal, they're probably seeing a lot of hormone clinic stuff pop up on their social media. Any male that's over 40 is going to be seeing it. And so as more and more people see it and aren't like, it gets put in their brain in a less demonized way, but if those same clinics are a little too loose with everything, I can see the DEA coming down on it and ruining it for everybody. But hopefully we walk the line well enough.
Yeah, and I don't think most of those guys they're just trying to enhance recovery, being able to stay on the field. And I would make the argument that TRT and some growth hormone and healing peptides is way healthier for loading guys up on fucking painkillers and NSAIDs and.
You ever watch Graham Bensington? He does interviews, and he always interviews old athletes. John and I were talking about this. It cracks me up. John, I think that's his name. I always get his name. Graham Bennington, something like that. But if you remember when Chris Farley used to do a skit on Saturday Night Live, he interviewed Paul McCartney from the Beatles, and he's all awkward. That's this guy's interview style. But he always interviews all these old, like Terry Bradshaw, and he's like, "You got a morphine injection minutes before the Super Bowl, or you were out drinking booze the night before." He's like, "Yeah, they were just whatever got them on the field."
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's whatever it took to get on the field. What was it? Lawrence Taylor kept an 8-ball in his shoulder pad.
Yeah. Well, I think almost the whole world knows what a greenie is. A greenie, and like for baseball, for pitchers, amphetamine. Everyone knows it. You got greenies. They even have nicknames for them.
They would have them. You could just grab them in the dugout coming out.
Yeah, I'm pitching today. I need a greenie.
Dude, who was that pitcher they did the documentary on? The two, I think it was 2 black pitchers in the 70s or 80s where they were like always high on like LSD or something crazy, and they would throw like no hitters
on LSD. He wasn't supposed to pitch. It was supposed to be his day off. And the story, I think it's been exaggerated because I heard him tell it exactly once, and it was more that he knew he wasn't pitching tomorrow, so he took LSD at night. But it has such a long half-life. It was still active, when they had a day game the next day or something like that.
Then he pitched like a no-hitter or something. Yeah. High on LSD.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to see more competitive sports and their guys stay healthy and play longer? I mean, it's just like
baseball, Americans pastime, everyone really came down on the steroids in baseball, but go watch the 98 home run derby and tell me that wasn't a funner time to watch the sport.
That's prime.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to watch baseball now.
I want to
now
see
you
a
got the
new
opposite.
version of that.
Now the pitchers are doing it. The pitchers are all on crap throwing 100 miles an hour.
All right, what do we got up next? So yes, LeBron is taking gear. So is every other pro athlete. Who cares?
So it's from ResQIV. What's your opinion on chicken thighs on a cut? I know some guys don't eat carbs with chicken thighs, but eat lots of veggies.
Is this a troll question? Because
Justin's huge on chicken thighs right now.
Yeah, I get this all the time because I don't compete anymore. I carry 50 pounds or 60 pounds less muscle than I used to and 20 pounds more fat. And part of that process involves I eat more chicken thighs because they taste good. And every time I post a chicken and rice meal with chicken thighs, Coach, I didn't know we could have chicken thighs. And I'm like, you can if you want to lose 50 pounds of muscle and gain 20 pounds of fat. Go at it.
Oh my God, I've ranted about this so many times. I can't tell you how many times I've done diets and contest preps with people, and the math just ain't adding up.
Oh yeah,
I'll get a guy that's not getting in shape. It's like, Coach, I swear I'm not eating any carb. I like keep cutting carbs and cutting fats. And I'm like, God damn it, man, why is this guy not getting lean? I'm like, let's just go through everything one by one. I'll get them on the phone, and they're like, I'm eating chicken. I'm like, well, what kind of chicken? Chicken thighs. And I'm like,
it's that or rotisserie chicken with the skin, you know.
And I'm like, what kind of beef are you having? I'm having ribeyes.
Yeah,
motherfucker, man.
No wonder you thought the diet was easy. You're living like a king.
Yeah,
I don't understand why I'm not losing fat.
You're eating 26 grams of fat per serving with that ribeye.
So yes, no to chicken. Well, yeah, no. I don't know of any competent bodybuilder that's eating chicken thighs.
yeah,
Not on a cut.
Sure.
Not on a cut anyway. And if you like, your LDL not being 200, it's probably not the smartest thing when you're blasting a bunch of gear either.
Yeah.
There's that aspect of it too.
No, chicken thighs are your reward for retiring and dropping a TRT. That's the reward at the end of it all.
Justin, are you in my plan, man, where you lose weight and get fatter?
Yeah. I've been slowly getting worse. Worse by the week. I'm going to start better by the day, worse by the day. I'm going to start a little series.
Yeah, I'm down to 240 and gain, 6% body fat, 7% body fat, whatever it is. That's
what I realized how down I am. I was in John's wedding a couple months ago, and my suit coat was smaller than my tux was for prom, high school prom.
Oh,
I'm smaller than I was a senior in high school right now.
Well, you're still You're still a big person.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm just big,
not
framed,
small structure.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it like with guys that used to be big. Like I saw Palumbo walking around at the at Masters Nationals, and you could see like it it's still there. Like if he went back and ate some food and went on gear, it would fill back out pretty quick.
Yeah. They all have the same walk. You know that old Bigfoot footage from like the 60s where the Bigfoot's walking? That's how every ex-bodybuilder walks. It's like Bigfoot.
Is that the one where you wreck your spine and your hips?
Your arms are half bent and you look miserable. Yep.
From squatting and deadlifting? That one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, retired bodybuilder.
Amy, let's get the question about Justin's TroponinIQ.
Yep. Yeah, it's a two-parter from Suck Smoothie. Hey, Justin, how does TroponinIQ compare to ChatGPT 4.0? I've been using it to track my progress, comparison pictures week to week, and I'll forget some stuff, but it'll be satisfied with it. If I ask it to give me some dieting principles based on your Reload Mass Diet framework, it'll also get pretty close. Not perfect, but AI probably won't be perfect for another 5 to 10 years.
Well, oh my God, you people are going to think I paid this guy. I didn't, but that is the perfect question to ask because that's where I think AI is going to shine early on. Until AI becomes what it eventually can be, it's too general. ChatGPT is great. It knows everything. And so you ask it a question, it's going to analyze basically, it's going to answer. It's going to take basically the summation of the most probable answer of the internet. And that's what it's going to give you. The problem with that is that most of the internet's stupid, so it's learning to weigh the smart internet versus the dumb internet, but it's not there yet. Where with TroponinIQ, it bypasses that because it's me. It's my knowledge. It's everything I've ever written, ever said, ever. I've saved everything I ever wrote. I had 700,000 files, aside from 1,200 hours of video footage, 11,000 answers and questions. I've been doing this for so long, and I saved everything. I had hard drives everywhere. So when you ask TroponinIQ, it answers as me, not as the most probable answer of the internet. And so the analogy I've kind of like been trying to use is like if you do programming and you're writing a script in Python, you can ask ChatGPT to write a Python script to analyze whatever data you need, and it'll give you an answer, and it'll probably work. But if you could ask the lead Python engineer at Google instead, and so that's where I think AI is going to work early on, is it's not good enough to be that general yet. But for a person, it is me. It answers like it's getting shocking to where it's like because we can add voice to it, and so I can answer as me. The server cost is too high, so we're not implementing that yet. I don't know if we'll ever be able to, but I can have that. I have a God mode version, so I can talk to myself, and I answer as myself, and it's just like it answers exactly as me. And so I think, and so that's the benefit. When you ask it for a diet, it's answering as me, not as the most probable answer of the internet, which is going to be a mix of good diet information, bad diet information, wrong diet information, right diet information. Where you ask TroponinIQ, maybe it's still wrong, but it's my answer. And so, like if you would ever want to work with me as a coach, but you don't want to pay the price, it's a way to work with me for a tiny fraction of the cost, like 1/15 of the cost.
Karina, you had thoughts? I see your brain working.
Yeah, I mean, in my day job, I do a lot of work, kind of behind the scenes with like GPT and stuff. And the more I learn about GPT, the more skeptical I am of just like non-customized or like non-fine-tuned models. And so I would say that like as a pretty blanket statement, like a fine-tuned model, a custom GPT is it's gonna be, by definition, better than just plugging stuff into the GPT that everyone's using.
Yeah, and I think I would eventually like to get other coaches involved, and we can make it basically like a refined version where you can ask this expert or ask it to answer as all the experts combined. But I mean, you can already do it. You can ask TroponinIQ to write a peak week protocol for a bodybuilding contest, and it'll give you one, very similar. I mean, it knows all your information, and then as it goes, it learns more your weight, your body fat, and each prompt it learns better. And you can fill out your profile to any detail you want. And the more detail, the better it'll know. But it'll write a full contest prep. Now I'll ask ChatGPT to do the same thing, and it'll send a different version of a peak week each time. Yep. And sometimes it'll say cut sodium. Sometimes it'll say don't cut sodium. Sometimes it'll say, eat like a low amount, like 2 grams of sodium a day, which I think would be too low, where mine gives like what I would do with a client. And so like Karina said, it's just too, eventually it's going to get intelligent enough to weed out the bad responses, but we're not there yet. It's so general that, you're asking the internet and it's answering as the internet, but a lot of the internet is stupid.
You mean there's dumb shit on the internet? I didn't know that.
One of the things that like makes me most like wary, I think, about AI is the inconsistencies within the same model. And so like even with like fine-tuned models, like I'll spend, a year like developing like a model, and using the exact same prompt like 100 times will produce, different outputs.
Yeah, that's interesting to see.
Like they don't know why.
I wouldn't have really known that till we did this, because usually you only ask a prompt once. But when we were stress testing, and doing A/B testing, comparing, it was really surprising how I have used AI for several years now, quite a lot, which is why I wanted to do this, because it's been a big part of my day. It's almost replaced my search engine use. I have a Grok subscription. I use ChatGPT. But anyways, until we started stress testing, and I would ask the same prompt multiple times with slight variation, I realized how I never knew that, because historically I'd ask a prompt and that was it. I got my answer. Where mine obviously will be much more refined, and mine on God mode, it even sources exactly what podcast, what book, what algorithm, what file name, everything that it chose as the most likely to represent my answer. And sometimes it's as many as like 12 of them. But and so mine even sources. So it's like, if you don't agree with this, here's all the sources that I gained this information from. You can review those for, but that's not in the IQ version, because most of those sources aren't links. They're files on my heart, that we uploaded into the system.
So you have like checks built in, like in like God mode? Do you have like one model like running a check on the primary model?
Well, so the God mode is completely different, because it runs on N8N something, where the IQ isn't. We're not using that. IQ, it works where it stages. So as you're typing, it starts trying to answer while you're typing, and it keeps refining, so you get a quicker response. God mode, it waits till you finish, and then it crawls everything. So the responses are really slow, but they're incredible. But that's used for me. For me to stress test and try to find things that I would say I disagree with, because sometimes it'll come up in the most probable answer. Like one time it said something about BCAAs that I did kind of believe around the mid 2000s, and I'm not so keen on now. So then I let our developers know that my views kind of changed on that. Give higher weight to this view for EAAs versus BCAAs. But yeah, so I don't know a ton about, because I have a programming background, but I haven't had time to although what's crazy is watching in meetings with developers when they're coding in text, because they're not coding in code. They're coding in text, and then it tells it to write it in the whatever code Python, CSS, whatever. It's like, what the hell? That's insane. Well, why did I used to have to learn all the syntax and everything. Now you just tell it to do something.
That's awesome.
So is your goal eventually to coach the AI, and the AI coaches your clients?
No, I'll never use it with my clients. I want to emphasize. I mean, maybe not never, but I won't. It's not being used with my clients. You work with me as a client. You're paying me. You will always get a human answer from me. The goal is that this will allow me. The main goal is the information. I think there's so many questions in the fitness industry. We don't know the protein debate. I'm going to have answers to that. In 5 years, I'm going to have all this data, and I'm going to be able to say, TroponinIQ, plot the increase in muscular body mass weight of people who've eaten 1.2 grams a kilogram or more per body weight at least 60% of the time, versus people who've eaten 2 kilograms, or people who've eaten less. And you can see, is there a curve? Do we find out that after a certain point, adding more protein does not do anything to build more muscle? Or we might say, the guys that are eating 500 grams of protein a day, they did grow at a faster rate. Same, I'll be able to do I'll say plot the body composition changes of users who have used a carb cycling diet at least 60% of the time when they were in a fat loss plan over the last 5 years, versus people who've used an isocaloric static deficit or keto, and we can see things that you can't do real research on. That you can't plot and follow someone every meal they eat for 10 years. But this, because it's self-reported, and it's, anytime you're on there and you enter change your profile, tell it what you weigh, tell it what your body fat is, tell it how you're training, it sees all that. And we're two things we're working on now. We're training it on visual representation, so you can upload an image of your physique, and we're a ways from this, but it'll already do it, because the other systems the backbone of that already exists. I just want to make sure it gives the correct answers before we implement it. And the same with photos. Take a photo of your meal, and it'll know the calories, the macros, and it'll include that into your profile. And so, but then eventually, I'd like to be able to have like a Barbie or Ken doll, like a genital lacking human form silhouette, 3D mold, and that I can show the actual body composition changes. So you put two of them and say, this person has done progressive overload with carb cycling at least 60% of the time over this period of time. This person has done whatever these parameters. Show me how their physiques have changed over the last 5 years. And
what if I want mine? What if I want mine with genitals, Justin?
Maybe that's down the road. That's not a priority right now. But we've added in a thing that will link you to several high quality porn sites if you really need to see genitals. So we're good there. But yeah, and so but we need users. We need more people on. But I would. It's still so soon. We just launched a couple days ago. So there's a lot of work to do, but I would like to eventually get experts, PED expert, a endurance expert, a whatever. And so you can ask it and actually, rather than ask ChatGPT and hope you get get a good response, you can say, well, this person is the expert I follow. I can't afford them as a coach, but I can ask them questions now.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got up next?
Next one we've got from Onathus. Did anyone try CJC 1295?
Never have.
I have. I used to like it. With or without DAC, whisker do's, whisker don'ts. With it.
Now, is that the one most people are stacking with in ipamorelin or whatnot?
Yeah, probably. And it was always with or without DAC. It really kind of like had a heyday maybe around 10 years ago. I don't see it much anymore. I always felt like it did more than like the other growth hormone secretagogues, but I never felt like any of them did much.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my thing, like with the growth hormone secretagogues, like I've thought about it. Like you look at the studies, like I don't remember the exact numbers, but like on ipamorelin, I think I saw something like it was like a 30 to 40% increase in your natural growth hormone production. But if you're 50 years old and your body's making a half a unit a day, what are you making now?
Right.
0.6 units.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then that stuff is like really now with how much generic GH has come down, it's like it's probably cheaper just to run fucking GH than run all the secretagogues.
And if you go by like effectiveness versus effectiveness, it's incredibly cheaper to run.
It's way
GH.
cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I messed around with the secretagogues before I finally gave up, and because I was on TRT and all the TRT clinics love prescribing that shit. And before I went and just went straight GH, and I'll never go back.
Yeah.
Just save your money and buy some GH. That's the answer.
Yep, that seems to be the consensus. All right. So from Jacoby Dials, anyone have any experience with injectable NAD plus and what it's good for?
I've used it. I don't know. It's another one of those things I put in the column. Like I don't know how much difference it makes. I kind of there's sometimes look, I love messing around with stuff. It's interesting. Like we get down these rabbit holes with all this weird shit that we do, and I think sometimes I like to experiment, but I'd put it in the column like I don't think it does a whole lot.
Yeah, probably not going to hurt you if you've got the money.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's if you want to add it in, but at some point I get to the point like, how many damn shots do I want to take every day?
Yeah.
Agreed. And non-injectable options probably would work also. There's others. Yeah. Right. This one from, I'm not even going to try and say it, Voodoo Jujitsu. There we go. I tried. It's what is the logic behind a PED stack with a test base, EQ, and mast? Aren't the EQ and mast together a bit contradictory? Mast versus hardening? What would a good ratio be?
Really just depends on like, I don't know. I don't know why you would run mast with EQ, to be honest with you, unless you're on contest prep.
Or, I mean, I could see cases where someone has a hard time sourcing and maybe they have a limited amount of each and they would prefer to run a smaller amount of each rather than 6 weeks of one, 6 weeks of the other. But yeah, for me, for off season, I like just keep it simple. Test, find an anabolic you like, add GH, maybe insulin. That's as good as it gets.
Based on dosage, I'd be careful, checking your E2 levels, make sure you're not, crushing your E2 with those two compounds together. But I personally myself run that stack for show prep, and it definitely helps with the drying out and hardening. I kind of get a good effect with both of them. I'm a big fan of EQ, and Masteron's always kind of like a something that definitely adds like a hardening effect and dries me out a bit at the end.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Like I get like of people with the master on debate, but like I've tried running in the off season. It almost dries me out too much.
Mhm.
Like my
Especially,
joints
yeah,
start to hurt.
You're someone who, like if you're someone who's naturally kind of bigger and overweight with a huge appetite, I think you'll run it just fine. If you're someone who is kind of has a good metabolism, not a huge appetite, stays leaner, I'm not that big of a fan. For me, EQ, that was always my favorite anabolic to stack with test when I competed. Primo was so hard to find back then. But what's funny is I've seen EQ just completely run the gamut in online view. When I was first online, the late 90s, people used to say it was worthless. Don't even bother. It doesn't do anything. Because a lot of times you'd find it as like really low dose, like 50 milligram or 100 milligram per ml. So for a long time, everyone was like, it's worthless. And then I remember it being worthless except for red blood cells and increasing your appetite. And then guys would only take it to boost their appetite. And then at some point, maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I started seeing people say it gave them anxiety. And then I just cracked up because I was like, this drug now that no one will take because they're scared of anxiety, a generation ago, no one would take it because it didn't feel anything on it. It didn't do anything for them. It just kind of shows like the hive mind view of things.
Yeah, it's always, now everybody's got a boner for Masteron. It's like Masteron's I don't remember anybody using Masteron 10 years ago.
Prep? Yeah, outside of contest prep. That's the only time you'd ever see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then it was kind of only if they didn't like Tren. It's like, I don't tolerate Tren. Can I use Mast instead?
Yeah, I don't really remember people using Masteron. I mean, look, like you kind of got to figure out what works for you. My opinion on it, like the primary driver for the off season is pushing your tests and your GH high, and then whatever anabolic pairs up well with those for you is what I don't know. I don't know what you think, Justin, but that's kind of where I stand.
Prep, I like Masteron. I'm just not a fan.
Oh, I love it on.
Yeah,
I love it on prep.
I try to use as little Tren as I can. Most people still need to, and I love Mast as a replacement. But in the off season, though, but in the off season, testing EQ, that's all I ever ran when I competed. That was my off season cycle. Various, the doses would increase each year, but I would stick to just that. Avoid orals, so that when I got to prep, my liver was good, and I felt like I could really throw the kitchen sink at prep then with less concern because I stuck to just basic, milder injectables in the off season.
I think it was Dr. Dean. I don't remember. Maybe it was him. I know Dean listens sometimes, so I apologize if I'm misquoting it. But I recall him talking about EQ and the anxiety thing. Like EQ converts to estrone, and then it like indirectly lowers estrogen. So like that can do some weird shit in men, and then also it affects dopamine as well.
Yeah, and some people seem to get really low estrogen from it. That effect seems to hit some people.
It smashed me at my estrogen, man. Holy fuck, man. Worse than like I ultimately settled on Primo as my favorite for off season. And I kind of figured out for me it's like 60 to 70% of my test dose puts my estradiol right perfectly in range, and I tolerate it well. My blood work looks good on it.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. Test and then Primabon at about, I say like 75-80% of your test dose. Almost no one has to worry about estrogen. You're running relatively safe compounds. You can push the doses about as high as total weekly milligrams as you can with any compounds with minimal risk, and you're more or less maximizing growth rates roughly.
Yeah, this guy pretty much said the same experience I did as Paul. Yes, I can run Mast and off-season manner, but I've tried it, but it was just as a pancake. I had to keep my sodium crazy high. Yeah, it seems like I just get almost too dry, and like my joints hurt and shit. I like a little bit of water on me in the off season, even though my blood pressure will go up a little bit, but it helps me with lifting as an old guy.
Yeah, and probably the amount you're going to be wanting to run to get an anabolic effect in the off season is probably going to dry you out. Like you say, I could see that totally happening if that's two that you're going with, just testing Masteron.
I'm not advising anybody to do this, but I felt like I never got much out of Masteron until like I hit a gram of it.
Yeah. Now it's like you say, there's the right tool for the right scenario. Cosmetically, in a show prep, it's a good use, but off season, it wouldn't be my go-to either.
Yeah, I love it on contest prep though. It really hardens me up, and I used it exactly what Justin said. It was my go-to instead of Tren. I didn't use Tren last year on my contest prep. It was Masteron. All right, what do we got up next?
Well, this was from Ali. It's actually been answered in the
Yeah,
chat.
I already can. This is as the owner of it. This is where it gets hard because I know people want it, and we're capable. But I wanted to give the right responses, to it, and that takes more training. And so yes, we can, but I'm not going to do it until I'm sure. Because if I blow it once, if you upload a photo and I give a shit response to it, all it takes is you going on Instagram and be like, this is garbage. So we're hopefully within the next month. We have a series of releases. We're hoping to do more or less a major release, roughly once a month, for at least several series of releases we're working hard on. It's expensive to pay developers, but and there's also only so much time for how many you can pay. But we can do it. Same with photos of food. I just want to make sure it's correct, because if you do that in some of the other things, like I think MyFitnessPal and stuff, sometimes the answers they give, they disagree with each other, and they also, I think, disagree with me. Before we do it, I want to make sure when you upload a photo, any response it gives to it is the correct response.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever wrap my head around taking a picture of my food and not using a scale. Like I just couldn't deal with it mentally. I'm a little messed up that way.
Just a quick follow up on the Master On thing. It popped in my head. I'll say this: like a lot of guys that I work with that are just trying to get in shape, guys that are probably a little, the 20% body fat guys trying to get down to 12 and look good. I love running tests, mass and GH, just at low doses. It's different than bodybuilding. I'm talking from a bodybuilding off season perspective. I think there's many tools in the toolbox, and there's an appropriate tool for the job. And then sometimes that's different for different people. So like, I don't like getting into absolutes with things. You kind of have to figure out what works for you. But I find some general rules that just, anyway. People get very emotional about Master On.
Yeah, well, the most important thing, and I always tell everyone, like, if you work with a coach, they're going to tell you what their experience is, and it's probably correct. And it's definitely correct in pretty much all but really rare edge cases. You may be an edge case. It's unlikely, but you may be. So I always encourage people, if you're curious about something, get it out of your system. Because the worst thing you can do is just keep wondering, and then you're never putting 100% into what you're doing because you're wondering if something else is better. Get that out of your system so you can learn that there is no magic formula. And the sooner you learn that for yourself, the quicker you're going to get to your end goals.
An example would be, I kind of have shit on D-ball in the past. It's a joke. I've run a lot of D-ball over the years, but a lot of guys, when they run D-ball, they just get bloated, grow gyno, and have a bunch of acne. But there are some dudes, the guys that seem to be low estrogen converters, the guys that are the skinny dudes, that D-ball is like the best fucking thing ever, man.
Yeah,
they blow up.
Yeah, if it doesn't kill your appetite, you don't turn into a bloated mess, you don't get lower back bumps, and you don't know those things. You don't know you're an edge case until you try it. So I recommend, people try things. Just don't waste 10 years trying things looking for a magic formula, because there isn't one.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got up next? I get one or two more in.
Yeah, we only have a couple left. So this one's from Rise41. When choosing a show, how far out minimum do you recommend to be for decent prep? 16, 20 weeks more, assuming you're already somewhat lean, 12% or so.
16 weeks.
Yeah, I like 16 pretty much for everyone. If you need more than 16, I would
too fat.
Yeah. And then less than 16, I'd rather just do 16 and then have the first month be more you just really locking in and being precise with everything.
For women, I'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. Sorry. Women have it hard. Yeah, women, I'll do 20 sometimes, but that's not fair.
Yeah, 16 is a pretty good sweet spot, especially if you have the ability before you enter prep to kind of clean things up also, like, and hold your weight a little bit, not going from like pushing your weight up right into a prep and diving down. Mm-hmm. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I'd say 16 is where I start most people.
You can always do 8 weeks if you want.
Yeah, or you can do John, and you can plan a 16-week prep and a family vacation, and then when you get several weeks into it, have your clients say, hey, when you're on vacation, I'm going to do a show that weekend. And it's in 8 weeks.
It worked out.
That's my coach.
I had already
before,
planned
like,
on it. I knew it was coming before he did.
I remember after the Arnold talking to John, and he said he was done for the year, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see.
I do it to Justin once a year. I'll be like, hey man, what are you up to? And he'll be like, oh my God. He's like, let me guess, you want to compete next week? Well, I was like, there's one in about 9.5 weeks we could do.
Where you at? Oh, I'm at the Cheesecake Factory. Right?
I think I specifically said to you, you know, what about the Masters Nationals? And you're like, I'm getting married. I got things going on this year. It was a year.
That's true. That's true. I hit him up 9.5 weeks out. I was like, hey dude, what do you think about this?
I'd say it was a good decision.
Yeah.
When it works, it works.
All right. What do we got left?
Oh, this is an interesting one from SM. Do you think Primo can almost saturate your aromatase where at a certain point, no matter how much test you use, E2 doesn't go up?
I mean, I have seen some guys completely smash their estrogen on Primo ball, and for some people it doesn't work. If you're a guy that is a low estrogen converter, it probably is not a good choice. I'll say that. It's hard to predict until you actually get on it, but I would say the majority of people I work with, especially dudes that tend to be fatties, which are most of the guys that come to us, are high estrogen converters. I very rarely see people that have low estradiol issues. It's Steve said, somebody said Primo. Team Primo, Team Primo is in the house.
I've seen it with EQ, but not Primo.
Yeah, EQ. Well, I've seen it with both, but EQ is weird because some people just seem like they just get their EQ bottoms out on it.
Oh, mine was smashed, man. I was down in the single digits. Yeah. And I wasn't running that much.
That's another thing TroponinIQ could answer. What percentage of the population?
I love the plug.
All right, got a couple more if you guys are up for it. They're two quick, easy ones.
There's a good GLP question too.
That one just came in. We can ask that one from Hercules. Where do you guys think GLPs will be in 2 to 3 years? With so much money in that market, I think it's going to get better and better.
Yeah, it seems like all the companies now are trying to package in some sort of anti-catabolic with them.
Yeah,
either
I'll
IGF.
be curious because typically the most obvious chemical is the most obvious for a reason, because it's the one that's going to have the most clear effect. And so they usually, maybe not the first iteration, but within the first few, it doesn't seem, if you look back over any drug class, you know, it's always like the first ones that come out are good, but not perfect, and kind of the next level are about as good as it gets, and then they just keep trying to come out with variations forever that never really quite do better.
Yeah, there's it seems like from what I've seen, like the development that's going on now, it's they're either looking at myostatin inhibition, adding to it, or IGF-1. I would think myostatin inhibition seems to have been the holy grail of bodybuilding that nobody has ever found that actually works in practicality. So I don't know, it's just speculating. I would think that IGF-1 added to it might be the better pathway, or just get on a cycle while you're on a GLP-1. There you go. Problem solved.
You remember interleukin 15 when the myostatin? Yeah, you don't hear that anymore either.
No, that was another thing that but God, if you've been around for a time, we've seen so many iterations of stuff, and then it just all comes back to the basic shit that still works.
Yep.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how they balance like the ratio of like an anti-catabolic with a fat loss drug, you know. So they're going to have retatrutide or whatever, they're going to have certain GLP, but how are they going to balance out what if you don't have enough IGF? Like, that's why it's kind of nice to dose things. It's kind of like steroids. I never liked blends because I wanted to be able to dose my different compounds the way I want to, because everybody's different, you know. Maybe there's too much IGF and not enough Reta in a certain blend that they're going to come up with. And so I'm just curious of how they're going to put that together. Where
they need to do like build your own, customize your own cocktail. Just go to a website.
Well, that shit's coming, man, with AI.
You just upload your genome.
Be able to print out a custom peptide for you. Steve says the EQ, Vigorous Steve, has 3 metabolites, which also act as an AI. So you get 3 to 4 molecules suppressing aromatization. There you go. From the man himself.
Dude, he hits that pose really well.
Oh, I
That's
know.
a
I was going
hard-
to say, he looks so good in that pose.
I was looking at him like, that's a hard pose to hit, dude. Good job,
Steve needs to go get his pro card.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares, though.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got up next, Amy?
Let's get this quick one from Dan. 280 natural IGF-1 levels at 35. Is 3 IU enough to get above that level? Try it and see.
I don't know. I mean, everybody gets focused on systemic IGF-1. It's really localized IGF-1 that causes growth, from what I understand. Like it's kind of a meaningless number.
Yeah.
And you'll see it like when guys are on contest prep too. There's so many variables that affect IGF-1 levels. When guys are in caloric deficits, the IGF-1 numbers come down even when you're on. What was that? I mean, that idiot Liver King, when he I think isn't that why he reached out to Steve, because his IGF-1 levels were low. We're running a bunch of, but it was his dumbass diet he was on, and there's just a bunch of other factors. Estrogen plays a role in it. There's so many factors.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you? And a question I asked people: do you think Ronnie Coleman cared about his IGF-1 levels?
Man, what's that?
No, I don't know. I would, what I've seen with, all kidding aside, what I've seen with GH, anything up to IGF-1 won't be high when you have NAFLD. Just saying, that is true. Get lean first, then worry about it. What I have seen, GH with GH up to 5 units is essentially just kind of a replacement dose. And once you get north of that is when you get into the super physiological effects. Fake GH still shows up. Yeah, there are other things that can raise IGF-1. All right, what do we got next?
Well, let's do this one. Anyone notice any gym performance improvements with Semax?
Never messed
with it. Don't know
I
anything
tried
about it.
a couple times. Someone sent a sample and
it's a nootropic, right?
Yeah, it sat, and I tried. It was like nasal spray. It sat in my cupboard for like a year. I tried it once or twice, and then it felt like nothing. Like I was just spraying saline. But then Skylar, our videographer, had some, and I didn't know what the dose was because it was just given to me as a sample to try. And he had some, and he told me like the different amount. And I had only been doing like 1 squirt. He had me do like 4. And yeah, I felt like a little pick me up, but it did not. It was like 30 minutes. It was like
nowhere close to ATP.
Nowhere close to ATP. But it was like, oh yeah, wow, yeah, I do notice something. But by the time we got downstairs and in the Uber, I was back to base. It just felt really fast and really mild. It didn't feel like I didn't feel that nootropic like clarity. I didn't feel it almost felt like kind of anxious, like my like vasoconstricted. My fingers felt a little cold for a minute, but minimal, not enough for me to want to try more. I mean, if someone wants to send samples, I'll give it a shot, but it's not. I didn't think it was that great.
Just take amphetamines.
Yeah, ATP, close as you can get.
Another unusual compound question. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Paul.
I was gonna say I haven't tried the ATP yet. Go ahead.
Oh.
That's a good one for Dave.
Yeah. DSIP, deep sleep inducing peptide. My source has it and I'm really interested. Chronic insomniac without THC.
I have insomnia. I've tried it. It wasn't enough for me to buy more. Like the first day I was like, yeah, I think I slept better. But you do that anytime you try anything usually new, and after that, I never bought more.
You want the ultimate productivity hack? Be an insomniac.
Oh god, yeah. Every single graphic you see for troponin supplements ever posted anywhere was done in a night of not sleeping.
I've used Delta Sleep Peptide for probably about 45 days, like a month and a half. And I have a pretty good sleep schedule. Like I'm usually in bed at the same time. And I didn't notice anything for like the first week, but I did notice, as it advertised, like deeper sleep. I felt myself getting into like that REM, that dream sleep, that vivid sleep. But like Justin said, not enough for me to be thinking it made a big difference. I mean, I just had more dreams that night. That's really about it. So
it gets hard. There's just so many things, and like Paul said earlier, there's only so many things you're going to take in a day. You know, it's like it just gets to, and so you stick with the things that really make a difference. I wish I would have. Maybe I'll try it again with like my Whoop or watch or something to see if there's an improvement in sleep. But I didn't notice it, whatever it was.
Yeah, I noticed GABA for sleep quality worked far better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take too much. So make sure you dose it correctly.
Yeah.
What happens if you take too much?
Oh, you like have a heart attack? You feel like you are? I had a client go to the ER 15, 20 years ago. They thought they had scoops. They thought they were taking glutamine, and they took GABA. And they called me or email. I don't remember. Somehow I found out and they're like, my heart rate's like 180. I'm like, call the goddamn ambulance. Don't call me.
Why are they
I
calling
took the
you?
wrong thing. I'm like, you just took 50 grams of GABA. You need someone there. Yeah, he was fine. He was fine. I don't know what they gave him. Probably something to bring his blood pressure down. But
I love that with bros. They'll have a health crisis and they reach out to you first. What do you, coach? Coach, I think I might be having a heart attack. What should I do?
Yeah.
I'm glad you called because I know the exact answer. Call the fucking doctor.
Yeah.
Should I stop taking Tren? like bro, fucking
you
call
mid
911.
injection? Because even if you are, pull it out. Yes, you're having a heart attack.
Good Lord.
Justin, what's too much GABA? Tanya takes 3 grams.
I don't remember. I know it's less than 50.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about GABA too is you can just take it as needed. It's not like the Delta Sleep Peptide. You're going to need to take it and let it build up and create a habit with it to get, for you to notice anything. But GABA, at least you can kind of like spot use it.
Yeah, I
Honestly,
think several grams. Like I think less than 5. I haven't even looked in forever, so I don't want to give poor advice. But it's a low dose.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, like the thing I found that makes me sleep the best are the CBN gummies, man. They knock me the fuck out, man.
Yeah. What's funny is THC will knock me out, but I can't get a deep sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it disrupts those deep sleep waves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I've had to mess with my sleep a few times, like different things, different tactics to get better sleep. Because I'm kind of one of those that'll sleep for 2 hours. I'll be up for an hour, 2 hours, up for an hour. I still am at this point. But the times I've had better success is when I just have a habit that you build, a good bedtime, a good wake time, and just making sure that I stick to a schedule. Being all over the place throws everybody off. I've noticed that.
You mean my staying up until 3 a.m. playing video games? Is that bad?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's your sleep habit.
How good are you? What's your ranking? That would depend.
Yeah, you're just going to bed and I'm just waking up.
I stay up way too late, and I don't know. I usually get up like between 8 and 9, somewhere around there.
I have a terrible schedule like that too. I'm like 3 to 8.
I'm like 2:40.
Yeah, I'll sleep 5-6 hours. 6 is probably my normal.
Yeah, I'm like 2:45, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm up.
Good Lord, dude.
That's even earlier than me. You're the only person I know that wakes up earlier than me.
Well, you remember when we went to the Arnold, I'd just go downstairs and sit in the chair until everyone's awake.
And snore.
Yeah.
I walked down at 4 a.m. thinking I was the first person awake, and Dave scared the shit out of me.
Dave's already up.
Yeah.
All right. We want to wrap this up or squeeze one quick one in.
We have a quick one here from Gadgets. He's 52, he just finished a cut, wants to gain 10 kilograms, wondering how long it's going to take. Wondering if a 16-week massing phase is enough per year.
I don't like putting a number on gaining. Like I think that just sets you up for getting fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd look at the approach of like getting a good rate of gain, like a good, rate of gain weekly or monthly, rather than having like an end goal.
I like to. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing. I like to use metrics that aren't directly weight related, but guarantee an end result of more muscle. Like things like progressive overload in the gym, or some trackable metric of progress that you prefer. And then with the diet, if in 16 weeks you're eating a higher calorie diet at roughly the same body fat percentage, you can assume that likely some muscle has been gained. So basically, then, because if you're trying to add weight, you're just going to get fat. Because muscle growth is too slow. So, but if you have a clear path to improving in the gym, and you're very strict and regimented with your diet, and you've learned that you can add calories periodically without adding body fat, do that long enough, you have no choice but to add muscle.
I'm sure you've noticed this too, Justin. I had my guy yesterday, Nick, that was doing a warm-up show before North Americans, and he's like pretty much been the same weight on stage the last 3 years, but his physique is completely transformed. He was so much fucking denser and harder and just completely different look.
Yeah, I call that like the second bodybuilding. Like eventually you reach a point where you're not, like, your look just completely changes despite not adding weight. And that's why I hate using weight, because when you really start getting to the good part of this sport, that's what's going to happen.
Yep. All right. I think that's a good place to wrap up, folks. Moral of the story is don't get focused on the scale. It is a measurement tool, but I ultimately, to me, the important thing is what the pictures show. That's the best measurement of progress, in my opinion. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you for all your support. We love you. I will be back from the Tampa Pro, so we'll talk about my experience there. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.